let's get started. We have a fun day. We have an awesome panel from the Mega Agent Summit in Asheville. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Michael, stop smiling at me. It's distracting. We have an awesome panel from the Mega Agent Summit. We're going to talk about a lot of the things that we have coming up. We have the business planning clinic. We have a lot of cool things like that. And then we're going to go through a little exercise called the lid exercise. Does anybody know who Gene Rivers is? So he's done this in the past, and it was brought to my attention again because I had been planning for 2023, and it's an awesome little exercise to start to get our wheels spinning around planning for 2023 and business planning clinic coming up. So we're going to go through that as well. So without further ado, we can't do great things without great partners. Wendy, you want to come on up and say hello?
It's like Groundhog's Day. We were together yesterday.
Yeah. I'm going to say the same stuff too. It's going to be great. You got to talk to the Zoom board.
And this is still here. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not going to hold it for you, just like yesterday.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Wendy with HomePro. Oops, I'm not holding this. With HomePro, for those of you who don't know me. And so we are one of your partnered vendors. And so we thank you so much for the support. And I just wanted to take a minute to just kind of let you know some of the new things that are happening at HomePro. So we have probably in the last 6 months really worked on our added services. So just additional things that we can provide for your client without you having to make more phone calls. So I got these sheets, they're in the kitchen area, but so we've had thermal imaging. So if you didn't know about that, it's something that more and more clients are asking for. It allows you to see if there's moisture behind even plaster and brick. So in some of those, brick homes or older homes, it really can be, a huge resource. Sewer scoping, we've been getting asked a lot for that too. So sewer scoping is something, and that just does a scope of the sewer for your clients out to the main connection because they are responsible for that. Indoor air testing, CL 100s, and then we're also working on wind mitigation certification. And what that is, it's a certification that we provide to your client, and then they can take that for discounts on their homeowner's insurance. So it just takes a look to see how it's all your roof and your foundation and that is tied together. So that's kind of it. I know that he's got a lot to talk about. So any questions or anything that you guys have as you've been out and about? Any unique things? Nothing? Okay. Well, I've got these over there, so take a look. I also have our realtor handbooks over here. If you don't have one, please feel free to grab one. We're in the middle of a reprint, and then the little pens. And then I've got the bowl going around for our gold flashlight drawing. So thank you guys. Let us know if we can help.
Thank you so much. Let's give Wendy another hand. All right. So let's get into it. So I like to read. Oh, let's not forget about Kelly Collins. Kelly Collins up in Somerville. If you ever go to the KW Key office in Somerville on East 2nd North Street, make sure to stop in, say hello to Kelly. She's a great contributor and a great partner up there. So thanks, Kelly, if you're on the Zoom world. All right, so I was reading a book. I like to read books. And I was reading a book called The Gap in the Gain. Has anybody ever read that book or heard of that book? No? You've heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a really good one, probably because I've talked about it a lot. So The Gap in the Gain, the whole concept has to do with, we're at the end of the year, right? We're at the end of the year and we're planning for 2023. And what ends up happening is we look at the year and we say, you know what, like I meant to close 36 transactions, but I only closed 24. And we start to look at the gap between the 24 and the 36. And what are the feelings that we get when we do that? What are they? Disappointment. Yeah. I'm terrible. So I'm a failure, right? What else? Regret. That's a good one. That's an awesome one. Regret. Anything else? Disappointment. I'll wait till next year. Oh, I'll reach it next year. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it next time. That's a good one. It's a little bit more positive. It's a little bit more positive. And one of the challenges with that is we're measuring to an ideal, right? This whole idea of measuring to an ideal as compared to measuring from the starting point. Because maybe let's take that same example. The year prior, when you set the goal for 36, maybe you did 14. And then you ended the year at 24, even though you came a little shy of your 36 transactions, look at everything that you did from 14 to 24. Look at all the systems that you built. Look at all the maybe you didn't have a 36 touch plan and now you do, right? Now, if we start to focus on that and we measure where we end from where we started, the feelings start to change. When we look at it that way, what are some of the feelings that we get? Tell me.
I'll crush next year.
Now, yeah, like confidence in being able to crush next year's goals. What else? I'm getting better. Like, wow, I didn't look at what I've done. I'm getting better. Or like, wow, all the systems that I put in place, those are starting to really come to fruition and starting to create some deals for me. Man, next year is going to set up really well. The feelings are much more positive. And when we have ourselves in a positive space and a positive feeling, it's going to propel us to overcome any gap that we have, as compared to if we stay in a negative space, what do we attract in a negative space? More negative crap. So what's really interesting to me, and I started to do it, I started to really look at, because I've been in that, everybody is, and most of the time it's successful individuals that are driving toward goals. Because we always talk about, oh, what was your goal? What was your gap? Right? What do you feel about it? Page 167 of the MREA, right? And what are you going to do about it? However, we don't look at it and say, you know what? I do feel pretty good about that. I came a little shy. I feel really good about that though, because I just sold 12 more homes than I did the year prior. Right? So, and that, when we get ourselves into that mindset, it can propel us to overcome just about anything. And that's why, one of the reasons why, and we talked about this at the leadership team meeting. That's why we always start with telling ourselves something good and gratitude and filling other people's buckets. So with that said, who wants to either brag on themselves about how they crushed last year, or fill somebody else's bucket, or tell us something good? Just give me two. Oh, Camille. You got to talk in a Zoom book. Celeste, can you handle this?
Okay, thanks. I'm filling my bucket with Kristen. Kristen does. Thank you. Kristen, she really takes care of us in the office. You know, she's added CE classes, which is great, you know, because we can do it all throughout the whole year and not have to hustle at the tail end. Thank you, Kristen.
Two more. No, because I like to sit in silence.
So Scott and Terry down there have absolutely been crushing it. Terry just got her first listing. She has 3 offers. Scott put a property on the market yesterday at 2, had a couple of offers ratified by 9. But they've been doing what they are supposed to be doing, and it's showing. So I'm super proud of the both of you.
I love it. Let's give him a hand. Give me one more. Oh, let's hear it. That's good. Love it. Awesome. All right, so let's keep rocking. What do we have next? All right, we have the best part of the show. So Hannah, Madison, Ronnie, and Kyle, can you guys come up? Let's give them a hand.
Danielle.
Mine are Post-its.
I feel like we're unfair. We don't know our topics.
Oh, I didn't send you the questions.
You don't get questions?
No, I forgot to send them. I played the same game yesterday with Mount Pleasant. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So the Mega Agent Summit, what was really cool about the Mega Agent Summit is some of the speakers were epic. We had everybody from a woman named Alice Daly, who wrote the book, The Magic Mom, and I'm sure people are going to give their ahas on that. That hit me in a different way. I loved that speaker. We had Ruben Gonzalez, right? Was it Ruben Gonzalez? He's the KWRI chief economist. He was pretty unbelievable. So it was an awesome event. And we talked about, or Jan Snook talked about a few months back, how me and her went to the Savannah Mega Agent Summit, and it was awesome. And I felt that this one just took it to a whole new level. So it's awesome. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to get a couple of ahas from everybody that did go. So Ronnie, why don't you start? What were some of your biggest ahas just about the event as a whole, and some of your biggest takeaways that you can share?
Well, I think, is this only the second regional event?
Yeah, this is the
They had it in
second Mega
Savannah.
Agent Summit. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, I would encourage everybody to take the opportunity next time that comes around to go. So it was a much more intimate environment, just to kind of paint a picture of what it was. I went to family reunion. I've been to Mega Agent Summit out in Texas. And then this was my third event for the year. And it was much more intimate environment. Everybody sits. Am I okay to talk about this? I mean, we're good. So everybody sits kind of at their own round table instead of thousands of people that are at these other events. There were maybe 350, 400 people at this. And so you're really connecting at a more intimate environment versus how many business cards can I exchange at these larger events. This was, I walked away with maybe 10, 12, 15, I don't know, kind of business cards, but I just today got a referral off of that. So I'll have a condo out in Edisto that I'll be listing on Monday. But so it's just a very intimate, and two, you get into the depths of conversations with people that you're not able to really get into because you're sitting at the round table with them all day long. But in terms of, yeah, I mean, it started off with the economic update with Ruben. He gave a lot of the same similar content and graphics and all back earlier in the year when I've seen him at these other events. But he is great about pulling new data and such as we go through it. And he's, mortgage, one of the key components that he really emphasized and it's not really of much surprise, but mortgage applications are down 30% from 60 days ago. So I thought that was, and the new home sales are going to be the biggest to drop versus resales in kind of as we go into a recession. One of the things that he, that I made mention that he spoke about, focus on lead generation. And that has been the one thing that has streamed from every one of these events that I've been through is the lead generation. Like we have got to really get very, very intentional about the conversations that we're having. I think that Gary Keller, what does he say? It's a contact sport. Yeah. He likes to use that phrase, and it really is. And so I'm pushing my team and myself, because that's one of the first things that goes when we get busy, right? Is making sure that we reach back out to those people that we've done business with and already know us and trust us. I mean, maybe we'll get a chance to talk, and some of the others, I'll give a chance to talk about the other speakers that were up there, but gosh almighty, Joe Williams was kind of, he was. So Gary Keller, well, let me go back and say Joe Williams, I got the opportunity. I went in on Tuesday. So it's all day Monday and then half of Tuesday. I went into Tuesdays with the intent, get there at 8:00. It didn't start until 9. Breakfast started at 8. And I went in thinking in my mind, I'm going to meet somebody. I'm going to make a contact today. And it's going to be great. This is going to be a great day. So I went in at 8:00. I was the 5th person in the room, and I got the opportunity because where I was sitting and because Susie Kopp went and she had already connected with Joe Williams, they sit down next to me. So I got 45 minutes sitting there listening to Joe Williams talk, and what a dynamite person he is. But where he said people are either head people or they're heart people. And it's a strong differentiation between the two. And so, and he talked about more on stage, but for 45 minutes, literally, he sat there and talked about the differentiation between the two. He said, Gary Keller is a head person and I'm a heart person, meaning Gary is numbers, he's strategic. I mean, gosh, I mean, that's who's writing these books that we love. And, you know, it's like the Bible to how to sell real estate and how to build a business that's sustainable. That's Gary. He's all head. And you could tell by Joe Williams. I mean, he gets up there and it's like a performance on stage. I mean, he is a heart person, but that's how he connects. He mentioned my name 4 times while he was on stage in that 1 hour. And it was solely because he listened so closely and connected at such a deep level in that 45 minutes. He knew my name. He knew how I started in real estate. He knew my kids' ages. Like he was nailing it, calling me out on stage because he connected at such a rich level, deep level. And it just, it kind of made me think, gosh, as we're working with different personalities, you know, we have those engineers that they're all data driven, right? They want to know the facts and the data. And so we're in and out of those listing appointments in 30 minutes because they haven't got time for anything more. And then you've got the heart people that's going to take you 2 hours because they want to sit there and hear stories all about how your family is and how your team works and all of this. And so to be able to adapt, but just I've always known that was the case, but I never thought about it between a head person and a heart person. And boy, it describes every person is one or the other, right? So that was the most impactful part to me.
Yeah, I think that the head and the heart people, like the whole concept of who are we sitting across the table from, and making sure that if they're a data person and a fact person, give them that. Like I'm a data and a fact person. I just want a 1-pager. I'm not gonna read the whole listing presentation. Yet maybe Kristen, she would read the whole thing. Right. And she's much more of a heart person. So you want to connect. Right. So who are you sitting across from the table with? I love it. Kyle, how about you, man? What were some of the things you learned?
Yep. Hard to go after Ronnie. That was.
That's why we did this.
I mean, yeah. And I chose the seat last too. So this is, impressive. First, want to lead by a couple of quotes, but you said at the start of the meeting, going into the fourth quarter, if you haven't hit the goals, what do you feel like? All of that kind of stuff. There was a couple quotes in there. Don Yeager, the author, on work done, you can be bitter or you can be better. Right. So think about like where you're at now. You can be better about the economy. You can be better about government, politics, whatever it is. But we can be better though. Like there are things to look forward to. Like it's just a reframe on mindset. And there was another speaker there, another special speaker. She was a quadriplegic on stage, and she was incredible. And one of her quotes was, "Pity party has to have a curfew." So like as we go into the fourth quarter, just thinking about it like, yeah, woe is us, right? But how can we get better? How can we help our clients get better? So leading into what, like just some quick ahas that Ronnie didn't cover, becoming more of an economist. Like I listen to Michael Prince a lot. He's got a lot of connections in different ways. He looks at business and the people he surrounds himself with on a regular basis. Some really high level thinkers in businesses and acquisitions and everything else. And I feel like Jason Abrams and Gary Keller says this every year, but like we have to be the local economist. And at the beginning, like Ruben Gonzalez talked about it, the chief economist, and Joe Williams talked about it a lot. Like how can we get into local policies, schools, zonings, different nuances of what's going on in the market, because that's what people want to hear right now. Like everybody's a little bit scared, or they don't know what the numbers are like, inflation, et cetera. So what can we do better to learn those numbers to help educate our clients? And Ronnie was alluding to more lead generation. What does that look like? At the beginning of COVID, it was care calls. We can bring back care calls, but maybe the care calls now are more about the economy than it is about families or health, or a combination. But how are you doing? Do you have questions about inflation? How's whatever it looks like on numbers, but how can you educate them to put yourself in the driver's seat of who they're going to go to when it comes to business, real estate, and anything else ancillary that gets involved with it. So that part was really incredible. And just, there's a lot for me to learn in that space. And I was sitting next to Joseph during, and there was a lot of acronyms that I didn't understand that he had to give me kind of the dummy version for. I was like, holy smokes, there's a lot of room for me to grow in this space. How do you say her name? Alia Daly?
Alice Daly.
Yep. A Magic Mom. I order the book, even though I'm not a mom or a parent, but I'm really excited to read her book. But she had some just talking about coaching, like who's coaching you to be the best version of yourself. I currently don't have a coach. I need to get back into that space, finding somebody that can really push and drive me and help, have that beacon, make sure that North Star, that lighthouse is there. She was really good. So Magic Mom, for those of you.
Write down what magic stood for.
I think I did.
Was model, affirm, grace, inquire, and coach. Was what she, and that was what she, that was pretty much the premise of our entire conversation, was this model. Model, affirm, grace, inquire, and coach.
Did you write down the questions?
Yeah, the questions about what am I angry about and what am I jealous of?
No, but just leading into that, it's who are my chosen models for who I'm becoming? And then what spoken affirmations enable my subconscious to help me find the answers? It's really talking to ourselves, talk to yourselves through those affirmations. Who can I extend grace to in this situation? Gosh, we have to deal with that a lot, don't we? What new question can I ask to open up more possibilities? And then what is coaching me to become the best version of myself?
Keeps on taking all the good stuff. I don't know what these guys are going to do down here.
Did you already have those? I should.
Oh, you're good. No, you're good. It's helping. You did. I do have more. I'm not done. I haven't been on stage in a while. So,
Hey, welcome back.
oh, thank you, by the way. So Christy Grossman was up on stage. She's the owner of Ops Boss. I've met her a few times. I've done some resources through her. So her whole business is on helping on the admin side role for hiring tools, different things. Ops Boss is more second level, more of director of operations as opposed to like the first level on that side. But she had some really good tips for anybody that's looking to hire if they're in that season, but listing out all the needs. And she had a really good point of, so all the needs analysis of what you need that assistant to do, circle the top 2 that's the most important out of all of those and hire around those top 2. So you might have 30 needs in a day or 30 needs, whatever it looks like in your whole scope, but focus on the top 2 or 3. And those are what you're going to hire to. Everything else will fall in place as opposed to worrying about the whole picture. Can they do everything on the picture? So I thought that was really good perspective on her side. And then user manuals are definitely key to keep everybody on the same page. Yeah. Without that user manual, I think there's a lot lost in translation.
A user manual for people and for yourself, like how do you work? Like what's your playbook?
Yep. And whoever you're looking for in business, have the elevator script for that job role. Like in a nutshell, exactly what are you looking for in that job role? And then just lastly, Vince has said it. Yeah. Thanks for bringing my team back, Vince, on that side. Happy to be back at KW. Been here 10 years, so drifted off a little bit in that. One of the keynote authors, Don Yeager on the stage again. So he authors all these incredible books. Like I referenced Warren Work Done, John Wooden, You'll Never Outperform Your Inner Circle. One of the reasons that Al and I, my business partner, Al, decided to come back to KW, a lot of that was influencing because of the inner circle here. The people like Vince, Kristen, Tiffany, Joseph, everyone in this room, like that's your inner circle who you're around. So you'll never outperform that. And so it's great to have that back. And then the Michael Jordan quote, it's not a loss is not a failure unless you make it an excuse. So a lot of times people ask, well, what happened with the other brokerage? What was the other brokerage? It wasn't about the other brokerage, right? Like it's not making an excuse with the other brokerage. It's just getting back to the fundamentals inside these walls and rubbing shoulders with everybody and just the basics on so many different levels of KW, and just pumped to be back. So thank you all.
I'm gonna follow up those 2.
Yeah, that's a great, love it. As how about you?
But whatever it is, I mean, it's a different market compared to just posting on Facebook and saying I'm a realtor and then getting 6 listings off of it. It's not the same anymore. So it's going to be lead genning, and however that makes sense to you, whether if it's calling for an hour, add an extra hour, be more intentional about it, because we're not in the same market we once were. So that was mine, and I'm not good at this. So have a good day.
She always hit herself last time. I was trying.
And I love what Madison was saying though about reframe, right? Like when you there's another book, it's called Ninja Selling. They talk about like fear is simply the absence of love. When we're able to reframe the conversation, because when we're lead genning, it's like, oh, I don't want to call them because I'm going to waste their time, or I. It's an absence of love. It's not about what you can do for them. It's not about calling them and saying, hey, how you doing? How's everything been going? Or believing in the value that you really provide. So when we're able to change and reframe our thinking around what is lead gen, all it is just talking to somebody to see how they're doing and pushing the relationship forward. The result of that can sometimes be buying, selling, and investing in real estate. But number one, you should be there to find out whether they're doing good. Right. So I love what Madison's saying around that.
I had a whole speech in my head and it just didn't come out. Didn't
Ninja
come out at all.
Selling is the book.
So good.
Yes. Yeah, it's an amazing book. Hannah, what'd you learn?
All right. My biggest takeaway was also from Alice Daly. And seeing her and that panel on the roster, my initial thought was, I'm 26. I just got out of teaching. I don't want to have kids. I'm not sure how applicable this is going to be to me. But then she slapped me upside the head and she asked, what areas in life have you been unconsciously sleepwalking in? And that hit me. Just reflecting, I took a second to reflect on that on a personal level, and then with what Winnie and I are trying to build. And then she asked two more questions. What am I angry about? And what am I jealous of? And again, for a second, I was thinking, I am not an angry or a jealous person. Those are two things that people do not describe me as. And then she continued to elaborate on that. And 2 days afterwards, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and it was the first episode that I had missed. And it was talking about the difference between healthy and unhealthy anger, and about the difference between anger and passion and how we utilize those in our lives to build ourselves and to move forward. So that was enormous. And I was able to share that on Friday with some of the members of the leadership team as well. And then I got hit again. I bought this book, How to Train a Wild Elephant, last week. I don't know if you've heard about it, but I've been looking for it for forever. And Winnie and I ran across it in one of the bookstores that we were in. And I read the introduction, which I don't usually do because, come on, who reads the introduction of a book? But it whacked me again with the same thought about mindfulness. And it talks about how we miss pieces of mindfulness in our everyday life. When we're driving, we forget that we're driving until we arrive to our destination. That's me all the time. But it talked about the sense of dissatisfaction that we get of the gap between us and everything and everyone else being an essential problem of human life, with our lack of mindfulness in everything that we're doing on a daily basis. And that just brought me back to her topic and her discussion of how am I unconsciously sleepwalking through things in my life, and how can I be more mindful and direct in the areas of my life that I want to move forward in.
That's awesome.
Heal Thyself with Dr. G. It's kind of a holistic wellness podcast.
And to that point, Don Yeager talked about some of the, like Michael Jordan and some of those people, and he said that truly special use adversity to do more, to do something special, find the inner fire and use it as fuel. And it's very similar to what she was talking about, like how can I use that anger or in a healthy way and propel myself to the next level.
I would have thought that I would have liked Don Yeager better because I'm a sports girl,
Yeah.
but maybe one day I'll be a mom.
Alice Taylor, she was unbelievable. She told a story too. She said she had, after everything that Hannah just mentioned, she had 2018, and a friend of hers called and said, hey, let's go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So she didn't get into like all the training that probably took, but she went and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and she told a story about how they climb at night in the middle of the night, completely dark. And they all have these little headlamps on, and they do it so that when they get to the summit, they watch the sunrise, which sounded absolutely epic. However, when she was walking, she was having trouble with her pack, and she kept falling behind from the group. And she could still see their headlights in the distance. And she had a guide with her, and it was just her and her guide. Eventually, she looked up, and she could no longer see the headlights in front of her. And when she looked back, she couldn't see the base camp either, where she came from. And she talked about this whole concept of how in life, sometimes that happens. You're just simply in between. And what are the conversations? What are the relationships? What is the yes or the no that can get you out of in between and help you find the light again and realize where you were coming from? And I thought that woman, she was just unbelievable, Alice Daly. So it was pretty cool.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the day ended, or the whole event ended with the reason that Joe Williams was on stage was talking about wealth building. And he teaches this, he does it at a really high level. I mean, he's a land guy, but a couple of things, two ways to learn something: books and people. Invest time in learning people, ask them to coffee and learn from them. And that, he's a heart person, right? Like, he's investing his time into people, and it has served him incredibly well. But he's coming up with a program. He said it should be out in the coming months. But he's going to be pulling together a wealth building class. And so I will be looking for that. And when he teaches it, I will be going to listen to him do this. But it will be something that eventually we're able to tap into, more localized, it sounded like. But I didn't realize that Quantum Leap is actually geared towards teaching 17 and up, right? So young entrepreneurial leaders, but the youth, how to build wealth. And so I'm going to be getting that. And I teach wealth building through seminars. And I want to do that more. I talk a lot about it, but that is something I'm going to take. And so if y'all are not familiar with Quantum Leap, I just wanted to be able to share that is out there, to be able to listen to and to share with our younger clientele.
Yeah, I think it is. It's one of the best courses you can take.
Yeah.
Completely changed my life in 2016.
In Austin, it's open. And they still got slots available. So
yeah, it's a great course. So any parting words of wisdom, anything that you're going to implement that you want to let everybody know? The wealth building thing and stuff. Anybody else?
Just for me, my biggest thing is
You got to take this.
Right. That was all I had to say.
Say it again.
Is I'm just going to work on being more mindful and just making sure that I pause in my everyday to think about the small things, and then in the evening to reflect on my day and how I react, even if I'm sitting in the middle of 26 trying to get home.
Yeah, that's awesome. Madison, what are you going to do?
To just be more intentional with my time and put more effort into lead gen and make calls, do more open houses, put my face out there more, because that's what is going to be needed to deal with the market shift. So thank you. Ended on a good note.
Yeah, good job. Mine's already built in just into daily calendaring, and it's just around all forms of economics, whether it's CNBC, if it's on the television, just watching what's going on in the stock market, to local news, policies, everything else. So it's just finding those resources and just doing it on a regular basis. So 30 minutes a day is what I've got blocked off right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's give our panel an awesome hand. Thank you guys so much. UL for adults is December 6th, just so everybody got it. In Austin. Austin's pretty cool. I'm going in a couple weeks. It's epic. Yeah. Real quick on Quantum Leap. So like Ronnie mentioned, Quantum Leap is geared toward helping people understand like how to live a more fulfilled life and how to essentially not sleepwalk through life. And one of the most impactful moments of my entire life was at Quantum Leap. Dick Dillingham was speaking, and it was in 2016. Through that whole time, he makes you write your mission statement and vision statement. But one of the most impactful moments was he had you pull out your phone and call to people. One of the people I called was my brother, and I had just moved down. My brother and I are 18 months apart, one grade level, and he's like my best friend. I love him to death. And I call him up, and I just moved down from Jersey, so this was the longest we had been away from each other for, well, our entire life, and 20 some years or whatever it was. And he didn't pick up, and I left him a message and simply said, yo, Aunt, just thinking of you. I love you, man. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks when I come back up there. And left it at that. Well, at the break, I get a call back from my brother, and he was in tears, which was kind of weird. And and he's not a real emotional guy. Well, he's emotional. He's a fiery little bugger, but not that kind of emotion. And he's like, dude, I was having the worst day. And he's like, I picked up my phone and listened to that voice message, and it just made me so emotional, made me so happy, and I can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for thinking of me and calling me. And it made me take a completely different view of telling people you care about them. And like, I left them a message. I probably said a curse word and called them names at the beginning of it, right? And it completely changed my view of just what gratitude is and how important the people that are next to you are. So QL, go to QL, Quantum Leap. So what do we have next? All right, scoreboards. Does anybody know what the market's down or up? Laura knows because I said it yesterday. Is it up or down? Okay, listens and sales are down. And how much are units are down? What percentage? About 15%. Yeah, year over year, they're about 15%. If you don't, everybody should subscribe to, it's like $12 a month, Doug Holmes. And he sends you every month you get an email, and it tells you all these statistics about year to date sales price. Like sales price is still up 15%. Appreciation is 15.6%, right? And units are down 15%, right? So we look at our paycheck, it's still solid, but our units are down. So our volume goal, I bet a lot of individuals potentially in the room may have hit their volume goal or their GCI goal, but might not have hit their unit goal, right? And that's a good thing or a bad, it doesn't really matter, but it's something to take into consideration. And again, the panel talked about being the local economist of choice. So knowing those numbers, it's a really easy way. And he also talks about contingents. But what's cool is there's a lot of production going on in our offices. So from a September listings taken standpoint, let's give these individuals a huge hand. Synergy Group, Chucktown, that's epic. That's the second month in a row that they've taken more listings in Chucktown. Yeah, that's interesting. That's either the numbers are rolling or they're crushing it. The September listings sold. Let's give all these individuals a hand. Chucktown and Synergy leading the way. Basket team, Mandy, see you up there. It's awesome. And probably closed units. That's usually what follows. So very similar. Chucktown had a good month, I guess. But let's give these individuals a hand. That's epic. Let's see Semi in the room. Way to go. Let's see. So production scoreboards. I like these. Mandy, September month to date is on the left. Mandy, let's give her a hand. Winnie's up there. Let's give him a hand. That's awesome. And on the right, Ingrid, new to the family this year, crushing it, 21.4 million. Mandy, right behind. Let's give all these individuals a huge hand. The individual agents year over year, or year to date. What we got for teams? All right, this is epic. Chucktown, I guess they're leading month. That's September, so month over month. Let's give these individuals a hand. 24 million, that's epic. Some of them in the room, and on the right side, year to date, crushing it there as well. Again, let's give them a hand. That's pretty cool. And what's this one? Greater Charleston. Yeah, I played this game yesterday. I forget about the slides. So yeah, thank you. So a huge congratulations. So these are individuals. So this is over all of Keller Williams and Charleston. A huge congratulations. Month to date on the left, year to date on the right. absolutely crushing it. It's so cool to see these numbers helping a lot of people. There's a book called The Go-Giver. I think I've talked about it before. Value is simply, or money is simply an exchange of value. The more value you give to the world, the more money you're going to get back in return eventually, right? And these are some big numbers. There's a lot of value getting brought to this, to the community. It's a really cool thing. We're helping a lot of people. Next is teams and groups. So Charleston, Greater Charleston, left is month to date, right is year to date. Again, let's give all these individuals a huge hand. That's pretty epic. This is pretty cool too. So Mandy, number 9 in the entire region for the month of September. Let's give her a hand. That's epic. Congratulations. So cool. Alan Donald team crushing it. Chucktown, both in expansion and in groups. Again, let's give all these people a hand. Almost 10,000 agents in the Carolinas region. And Mandy, who's sitting in here, number 9 from an individual agent standpoint in the month of September. Way to go. That's epic. We got next. Profit share. 48% of the profits that are generated at the company are shared back to the agents that help generate that profit. Got it? Get it? Got it? Good. Bada big, bada bold. So, oh, we've got good news about bold. This is going to be awesome. Oh, I'm not allowed to share. Bold's coming. So, April. We have a slide on it, but it's coming in April. No problem. Yeah, you even got your purple on. Perfect. You wore ready for bold. Yeah. So profit share, and we talked a lot about. We're going to do a little exercise on wealth building too, and on investments. But passive income is epic, and it can completely change the way. Mailbox money is great, right? The difference between active income and passive income. One is mailbox money. I just sit there. One is I work real hard for it, right? And bring a lot of value to society. So profit share is a really easy way to change somebody's life, get them into our family. We're some of the 5 people that we spend the most time around. And I would look around and say that maybe for some of you in the room, KW has changed your life, helped you get to a new level, and you can share that with other individuals. And if you want to do that, feel free to connect them with me, the growth team, Winnie, Ben, Kristen, anybody, and we can have a conversation about it, because it's really just about them. It's not about recruiting. It's about what are you doing? How can we help? And if the natural progression is you join KW, great. If not, here's some really cool classes you should get into, and here's a cool business plan, whatever we can do to help them. So profit share is epic. What's next? Cappers, gotta love those. 100% of their commissions. Chucktown finally capped. Took them about 3 days, and and Johnny, excellence. Let's give them a huge hand. That's epic. And first closings with us, Ingrid. If you haven't seen Ingrid around, she's a rock star. You can learn a lot from her. So let's give her a hand as well. First closing with KW. And there's a decent amount of people. Welcome to the family. Anybody on here? Heidi, there's Heidi. Anybody else? Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Everybody. So everybody say hi to all those people. This is awesome. Hey, welcome to the family. So if you see them around, I know their picture's not up there, but say hello. It'll be great. So welcome to the family. It's going to be a lot of fun. And luxury, we want to bring a little bit of awareness to the luxury division, led by the amazing Laura Fox back there. So if you want more information about luxury, if you want more information about how you can leverage the luxury division and some of the amazing resources in that space, shoot an email, shoot a text or a call to Laura, and she can help you for sure. Did you want to announce a couple of people?
Oh. The qualifications are based upon the counties. And so in Berkeley County and Dorchester County, the level is 700. And in Charleston County, it's $1 million. And so to qualify into Keller Williams Luxury, it means that you have 4 transactions in 2 years. And so with your latest production, you have qualified in, and the leadership would like to acknowledge all of your work. And I look forward to seeing more of you. Yeah. You just did.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Ronnie, you should have been on this list for a while. We've been.
Yeah, so even if you don't necessarily qualify for luxury designation, if you have a listing if you have a listing, if you have a listing or you have a buyer that's in that space, you absolutely can leverage some of the resources. So again, reach out to Laura, the leadership team, and we can get you connected. So congratulations to all those that are in the luxury division. It's epic. What else we got? Thanks, Laura. Happy birthday. It's a spooky one. Let's give him a hand. This is gonna sing. What's coming up? See you later.
You've already took my announcement, so. Yes, I know. All right, so we have CES coming up. Tech Tuesdays are the 1st and the 15th in November. Internet Legion is the 3rd and the 16th. So I think that's with KT Temple. He came here and taught, but if you missed it, that might be a good one to take again, or just take it again. And then 6 scripts that changed my career with Chris Hurley. So those will be on the calendars. It'll say CES. Just be on the lookout for those. We also have Wealth Building Wednesday coming up in the Mount Pleasant office. Winnie, do you want to speak to this a little bit? Hannah? Yeah, I'll hold it for you.
Thanks so much. Yes, I will be there. Josh Dorfman is an investment advisor with Northwestern Mutual. He has a pretty great team that's structured very similar to the same way that Keller Williams structures their team. And as a matter of fact, we are going to have a person with us in person for this one. So if that's something that you've been missing out and that you're really looking forward to, we will have somebody there for that as well to help chat a little bit after that hour as well. He's just going to talk to us about investing larger chunks in the shorter term. So he's going to be talking about CDs. He's going to be answering any questions that you might have about how to maybe invest some of that commission for a year, 6 months, a year, 2 years to try and see some larger growth on that end before it's withdrawn.
Because the rates have gone up, so.
Yeah, it's going to be really awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, and then if you haven't heard, we've been talking about this for a couple months, but I know Business Planning Clinic is the next week, the 27th at Cooper River Room. So this will be a really good one. I know Joseph's changing things up from previous years. So, which he hasn't gotten the materials to me yet. So that's how I know. But the 27th at the Cooper River Room. So mark it down, sign up. It's going to be a good one. QR codes up here. It might be over there as well, but stop in, sign up.
This is a great intro for them for potentially your profit share organization. It's super easy. It's chill. Everybody wants to do it. So, yeah. And it's a fun event and it's off site, so it's not obtrusive.
Yeah.
We're going to really talk about like how much money do you want to profit? How many leads does that take? And what's your business plan from the standpoint of like, what are the activities? What do you have to do? And what do you like to do? Like we talk so much about lead generation. Like, what do you like to do? And how do you marry that to growing your business? Right. So that's a really big piece to the puzzle.
Customer experience is the 10th. It's going to be here in this office. QR code to sign up for that. Definitely get registered. We've Eat Around the World. So this is going to be our November joint get together to celebrate the kickoff of the World Cup, Thanksgiving. It's going to be really fun. If you are not a cook, that's okay. You can bring 5 canned goods. So we're going to have a way to give back to our local community right before Thanksgiving and help those in need. And also enjoy some good food. No, I don't think, no. Where's Michael?
Michael left the room. This was Michael's idea on the World Cup. I don't think it has started the date that we, I know, but it's, yes.
I'll bring a soccer ball. Customer experience is how to create a great consumer experience. We don't have the teacher yet. They haven't announced it. Just
I know.
could have just gone with it. I don't know who the teacher is, but here's the premise of the class. So we talk so much about lead generation, lead generation and follow-up. The last piece to the puzzle is consumer experience, right? Is service. So how do we create a consumer experience that's unmatched and that generates more business in and more leads into our database? That's what customer experience is going to be geared around. That's a good question, Delisha. And then Delisha did say she's going to bring a soccer ball. Yeah, this is going to be great. Be awesome.
All right. 20th, yeah. Few days before that, it's a different way to also have different food around the Thanksgiving holiday, not just your, holiday party. Yes. December 1st at the Porter Room at Holy City. We also have a QR code over there. So sign up for it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be all of KW Charleston. It's a new room too at Holy City. So I think it's going to be pretty fun. Yeah, it looks really fun. So, all right. And Bold, Vince already took my announcement here, but we have Bold coming back April 2023. A lot of people have asked for this. They've wanted it to come back. We haven't done it since pre-COVID. This is going to be an awesome experience. Tiffany is not in here to speak on it, but we're going to have a payment plan leading up to, if you would like to take part in that. We'll have more details coming out about it, but essentially it will be kind of prepaying on that out of like a closing.
They haven't announced that.
We don't have the instructor yet. I think our calls start in November for expectations. So
Bold stands for business objective life by design. The whole concept in the past, they talked a lot about calling, and that was one of the that was one thing that people didn't love about Bold. They've really revamped the course over the last 3 years and driven it toward database management and database and like sphere of influence and how to connect with your database, different systems around that. It's an amazing course. It also works a lot with like mindset, kind of increasing your like financial lid, your financial thermostat, things of that nature. It's an awesome, awesome course. They talked in this new session, they've talked about the average agent, the one that just finished, the average agent put 12 contracts under new contracts in 7 weeks of Bold. And that's pretty good. I think that's a lot of money. And it's $799. So Bold costs $799. It's not covered by the agent education fund as determined by the policy. However, what's really cool about Bold is you are able to get reimbursed on, I don't remember the exact amount of closings, but it's between 2 and 4 closings. And you get reimbursed the entire price of Bold, that $799 on those closings that you put under contract during Bold. So you can go to Bold, say you put 7 under contract, you're going to Bold for completely free. That's a decent ROI on your time and on your money. So, and what Kristen was referring to is if you do want to start saving that for Bold and for that $799 and you don't trust yourself to do it, like I wouldn't, then you can have it come out of your commissions. We can hold the money on at the market center level so that maybe on 3 or 4 closings, you have a couple $100 come out toward your Bold experience. And then we buy that ticket for you when Bold comes around in April. Any questions? It'll probably be at what's that room? It'll probably be at the Cooper River Room or something like that, but we don't know exactly where it's going to be yet. It'll be off-site.
And it's once a week. We don't have the day yet, but it's for 7 weeks long. So it will most likely be in the same place. You said 4 to 8 transactions.
4 to 8 transactions, depending on your production level. So we'll get that policy out as well. And we'll keep rocking. So we're going to go 4 minutes over. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Naturally, because Kristen takes so long to go through the events.
It's just always has to add on.
Just kidding. She's amazing. All right. Get these out of the way. So we have business planning clinic coming up. And one of the things that, and Ben and I were looking at this, one of the things we wanted to do is just get everybody's wheels spinning about what should I be planning for? How do I think about, sometimes we say like, all right, what do you want to make? What's your profit goal? And sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to come up with, and because it's like, well, I don't know. I know how much I spend, and we have to start thinking about it though. So a cool way to do it, and this was from Gene Rivers, is called this lid exercise. And Ben, I'm going to have you throw out the numbers with me. But so lid, what's L stand for? Lifestyle. So lifestyle, boy. Whoa. Investments and debt. So lifestyle, investments, and debt. So lifestyle is going to be things like eating out, vacations. What's my monthly spend, right? What do I want to do? How many vacations do I want to go on? Maybe my kids, and I have college tuitions, or we saw a crazy statistic. What was
the highest rate of people filing for bankruptcy are over 62.
Yeah, that was crazy. Usually medical bills. And so maybe, like, my dad would kill me if I said it, but he's getting older, right? And I want to be able to take care of him. So maybe you want to take care of your parents or an older relative or an older person, like planning for that. That would be in the lifestyle number, right? So what's that lifestyle number? Investments, our goal with investments should be to pay off the lifestyle number. So a passive income from investments should pay off the lifestyle number. They defined investments in a really cool way. I wrote it down. It's periodic investment of time and money over time that bell curves up to develop more time and money, right? That's the intention of investment. That bell curves up to get us more time and money. So, and then debt, we all have it. We have two big debts. One, what's one big debt? Mortgage. What's the other? Loans, student loans. It could be. What is maybe there's one, student loans. Some people have them. What's the one that everybody has? Taxes. Usually, yeah, taxes, because some people have student loans, some people don't. Some people have a car payment, some people don't. Taxes and mortgage are always a part of the equation. Well, taxes for sure, maybe not a mortgage. So debt's something we're going to talk about too. So if we were to do the lifestyle, what's the number that we want to play with today?
We'll go with 200,000.
All right.
And this is your net. This is your spend. You are spending $200,000 a year
on your lifestyle. This is what you want to do. This is going to cover all those things that we talked about, right? So $200,000, and we want to invest so that over a period of time, the passive income from these investments pay $200,000. Does that make sense? So does anybody know how much at a 10% ROI, 10% return on my investment, I would need in real estate, because we're all in real estate, and that's an easy vehicle for us to invest. How much real estate I need in order to create at 10% a cash flow of $200,000 in a year? 2 million. Not a trick question. So how much money do I have to put up to acquire $2 million worth of real estate? This is one of the coolest things about real estate, by the way.
400,000.
Yeah, 20%, right? That's the right number, right, Ben?
Yeah.
So I have to put down, this is what's so cool. I put down 400K, but I've acquired a cash flow that's going to pay off of a $2 million investment. Not a lot of investments allow us to do that. Not to mention, go ahead. Yeah, it is at 10%. So there's a reason that we use 10%. I'll mention it. Yes, that's the first reason. Second, the second reason is because we're also just talking about cash flow. So that's going to be a variable, right? We're not taking into consideration the impact of appreciation on this asset and how that net worth game actually can create more cash flow. So 10% is the number that we were going to use. And yes, because easy math is so much better. And I still couldn't do it. Remember the 400 grand? Yeah. So at 400K, if I was to do so, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, that book talks about doing this over a period of 10 years. Me personally, I think 10 years is really long. I think a year is long. So I would want to do it in a shorter amount of time, but you get to determine that period, right? So how much money additional do I have to earn each year so that I can invest over 10 years, 400K to create $2 million worth of real estate? Does anybody know? Ben? 40K. So so yeah, it's way too simple. That's why I can do it. And this is one of the coolest things about what Gene Rivers has done, or what some of these models do. Like the world, business, everything is so damn complicated. Oops, excuse me. Everything is complicated, right? However, success lies in the simple. If we can break things down to a really simple, actionable thing, it'll create the big complex thing that we're looking to create. So that's again why we want to get it down to this number, because now we're just going to focus on one number, just acquiring $2 million of real estate over a 10-year period by creating an additional $40,000 over our lifestyle number. So if I take $40,000 and add it to my lifestyle number, what's that equal? Plus 40K. I didn't do this yesterday. Sometimes this pen just goes. $240,000. So now this is where we're going to take into consideration the debt piece. So Gene Rivers used a number of 50%. He said, I'm going to say that mortgage plus tax, I'm going to account for a 50% tax rate, state, the whole 9 yards. Now, hopefully you have a really good CPA and you're not paying 50%, but still, this is a good planning tool. So it's 50% of the total number. So what's that equal? 120, right? So I'm going to add the 120 of tax or debt to the 240. And what's that equal, Ben? 360K. So now I can build a plan around $360,000 to allow me $40,000 to invest in real estate toward my 10-year plan of $2 million of real estate, creating a $200,000 cash flow. And at the same time, I'm acquiring my $200,000 of cash flow to fund my lifestyle now. Does this make sense? So when we're doing this, I played with this on $500,000 yesterday. I think that number's great. 5 million or $500,000 would be a $5 million investment in real estate, right? If I wanted to do this in the 200,000 with 2 million, and I wanted to do it in 5 years, I just double all the numbers, right? So I would double that number. So you can play with this however you want to play with it. But the intention is to start getting you to think about, first, the simplicity of getting down to one number. Now all I have to do is build a business plan around creating $360,000 in my business. If my average GCI is $10,000, how many units do I have to sell in a year to create $360,000 to pay the tax man, pay my mortgage, run my lifestyle, and then create an extra $40,000 to invest in real estate? 36, right? So now I've really started to figure out how many units do I have to build my plan around. Does this make sense? So as we're moving toward the 27th next week, start to not only think about the lifestyle that you want, but start to expand your mind to what would it look like for that lifestyle to be paid by passive income? And what would be the first steps so that I could go and live a life by design and work when I want to work and not have to work? Does that make sense? Any ahas? I need to make more money. That's a good one.
Can you write that percentage particularly for debt over there, but also do you have like a cheat sheet for this that we can?
I think we found a YouTube video or something. It's a horrible video, but we'll get it to you. So that's a great question. So what was it? Oh, the question was, how are you factoring in the expenses of your business. In this particular equation, you would want to you would basically gross this number up. I didn't, because we're accounting for a 50% tax rate and it's not going to be there. So it is probably going to be a 20% delta there. Now, what you can do is you can say, well, an individual team, maybe they run their margin is 50%. You could double this number. Does that make sense, Shakima? So you would double the number based on your expenses and cost of sale. An easy way to do it is take your profit margin and then flip it. So if my profit margin is 50%, I'd divide by 0.5. If it's 60%, then I would divide by 0.4.
Gross that bottom number up by whatever your cost of sale is.
Exactly.
If you're running it this, you should be running a pretty
Lean team.
operation. But if your number is that 500 that we did yesterday, you're going to want to gross that number up by 30% almost at the end.
Yeah.
Because it is a compressed gross.
Yep. Does that make sense? That answers your question? Any other questions or any other
Also,
ahas?
the debt perspective. So say you wanted to factor in eliminating, X number of debt, a mortgage or whatever. Obviously, you're gonna add that number in too, right?
Yeah, I would add that number into my lifestyle number.
Okay.
Me personally, because you have to service it.
Got it.
That's going to be that'll be part of your monthly spend. So I would factor that into my number here. Yeah. I would factor like, what's my monthly? What do I intend to spend above my monthly? And and then maybe what debt do I intend to pay off this year? I would probably put that into my lifestyle number.
In this case, debt really is just the taxes.
The taxes and the mortgage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Good questions.
This is really good to go over before business plan.
Yeah.
We've never done this before.
It's an awesome exercise. And again, I love the simplicity of it. It's a really, and Trad mentioned, yeah, there are variables 100%. Maybe if I'm at 5%, the number's got to be bigger. If I'm at 15%, number's going to be smaller. And $40,000, if it's 10-year period or a 5-year period, there are absolutely variables in all of planning. The whole intention of planning is simply to put it on paper and know that, hey, this is like a GPS. Put it on paper, but maybe I know a back road. Like I put it in, I know how to go home from here, and I don't go home the same way. Sometimes I take a back road because there's a road closure, right? So that's the same with when we plan, just get those numbers, know the assumptions that you're making, get those numbers on paper. And then as you're going and tracking your progress, you can determine whether you have to turn right or turn left or take a new road. Does that make sense? Or change an assumption that you originally made in your plan.
And when you're talking about with the investment number, it's at 10%. You're talking about like a cap rate essentially.
Yeah, your return. So go ahead.
Mine is just kind of and since we all have read the MREA and we all know what the economic model is, this exercise is done before you start the economic model.
Exactly.
This is how you get that first number in the economic model versus, I think I want to make X. This is an educated answer as to what X is.
And you can get really deep in this. Like you can literally write out like Gary Keller puts his vacations on his calendar first, right? What vacations do I want to take my family on? What debt do I want to pay off at the end of the year? What X, Y, and Z. Like you can choose how many times do I want to eat out? It can be anything. What do I want to buy? I want a boat, right? That's going to be in my lifestyle number. Like how much money? And I just add the price of the boat to this number, right? So it can be really, really simple. And it gets us thinking a bit, there's an emotional tie. Arbitrary goals never get hit. We need to, logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. We need to tie the monetary figure on a piece of paper to something that emotionally makes us be like, hey, I want to go get that. And that's what this exercise can start to do for us. Like literally in lifestyle, write down what you want to buy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To add in
Personal goals. Yeah.
performance indicators.
Yeah.
And so that's, you can't go wrong if you're using that. You can't go, you hit your goal.
I love it. Yeah, that's KPIs. Anybody else? Go ahead. Yes. Trad. And specifically, Fu Manchu. I love when you do that. All right, I really appreciate everybody being here. Sorry we ran a couple minutes over. Absolutely humbled to be in business with each and every one of you. If you need anything, call me, text me, or more specifically, call or text Kristen. See you.